What's up, guys? This is Pro Bros here, Christian from the Pro Bros. Excuse me. I have no script right now. I'm not reading off of anything. This is going solely off of opinion. But I'm here to talk about how beautiful Battlefield is and why Battlefield shouldn't strive to be like Call of Duty. Battlefield should strive to be both beautiful, contain a whole lot of player base, like in-game player base, and be an all-around great game. It doesn't have to be a Call of Duty or like a Call of Duty ripoff, kind of like Destiny is in a sense, because Call of Duty did create it and it's massively popular because it is. But Battlefield should remain its own style of game. Beautiful, works amazing, always gonna have bugs, but it's the experience of that all-around warfare. And if you didn't see the very beginning of the video started with me looking at the sun. I actually took a screenshot, and that'll be the thumbnail, because the sight of that is just so amazing that a video gaming can create that kind of effects. And that's on a PlayStation 4, so that's like PC high, medium-ish, high-ish, and that just looks absolutely beautiful. So I think that Battlefield should, you know, with their Frostbite 4 or whatever they have in the next Battlefield, Hardline does not look like they're gonna focus on visually being advanced. I know that they have Levolution, but the Levolution isn't changing it as much visually. It's doing some really cool things, but they're not focusing much on visual. They're focusing more on revamping the HUD. They're focusing on reskinning all the guns. They're focusing on reskinning all the characters. But they're not focusing on the elements and the physics of the lighting as it seems. I mean, the game's still being developed until February as it stands right now. So this is definitely not final of what we've been seeing of the betas and stuff, but I actually haven't personally played the beta, but I will be playing the second beta. But they should strive to be a beautiful game, not to be the next Call of Duty, which it looks like Hardline is taking a step forward. The game, the character models, they look pretty decent. Battlefield 4 character models were a little funky in the campaign. I personally think the character models look a little more filled out in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield Hardline. But the campaign looks pretty lengthy, and it looks like it'll follow like I would say a true story, kind of like Call of Duty does. That's the only thing that I really wish Battlefield 4 would have did. The story, I personally loved it, but it just wasn't long enough. It didn't bring you in enough. But I don't know. I think that it takes more time to develop a Battlefield, because you're making these huge maps that are beautiful, that are spanning a few square miles or so. No, like a square mile or so, which is really cool. Just a span of a couple of islands, or, you know, an urban city as we saw in Dragon's Teeth. That would have been really cool if they had the map as big as like Paracel Storm, or what I'm playing on right now. I can't remember the name right now, but I believe they should be. The game should look amazing, not be like Call of Duty. I think that they definitely need to focus on. Alright, I'm gonna change the subject on this. Now I'm gonna start talking about what they need to do a little bit better if they want to be their own game that's gonna constantly and consistently be amazing. They have to have better weapon varieties, because as much as I hate to admit it, about half of their guns were pretty much the same thing, with 80 more rounds a minute fire rate, or a little bit different recoil, like the the MG4 and the M249 SAW are the same thing, except the recoil pattern's a little bit different, which is a problem, because if you're gonna have so many different guns, they have to act like so many different guns. Like Call of Duty doesn't have that many different guns, but they all act very differently. A good example would be like the the DBV-12, the shotgun from Battlefield 4, and then the, I can't think of the name right now. But there's two shotguns, and the only difference is that one has one more round in the magazine, and they don't have a lot of variations. That goes with the handguns. The handguns, like, some of them, there's either really low damage handguns, low damage handguns, medium damage handguns, or high damage handguns. So you have, like, the Desert Eagle at the high damage. Then you have at the medium damage, you have, like, the CZ-805 and the M1911, which is, like, in a weird category. But, like, the CZ-805. And then you have the weaker weapons, like the P226, the M9. And then you have the super weak weapons, like the G18, the 5.7, or the FM57. And a lot of them within their specific tier are the same exact things as one another, except, you know, one has one more bullet in the magazine, or one's made by the United States and the other's made by Russia. Like, put some funky things into their guns. Call of Duty Advanced War, I keep on comparing it to Call of Duty, but Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is doing these things where the assault rifles will, like, one shoots at like 900 rounds a minute, then slows down to like 700 by the end of the magazine. One starts at like 600, goes up to like 850 by the end of the magazine. So even though, I guess, the realism in Battlefield, but there's got to be some variations. Like with guns like the Bulldog and the Scar H, just because they're more powerful does not mean you have to remove their magazine size. Like, let it be. I understand that the Scar H has variations of 20 magazines and 10 round magazines and 30 round magazines. But there's some guns where this is the attribute and they change it just for the balancing purpose. But like guns like the MTAR-21, oh no, that can stay right where it is, even though it's probably one of the best carbines because of its fire rate. And guns like there are some variations. So like people might think, I can't think of the name. The SAR-21. The SAR-21 is super slow fire rate. It's kind of like the AUG, but with a tuned down fire rate, and it doesn't seem that good until you put a compensator on it, a stubby grip or an angle grip, like a coyote sight, and not even a laser. And that thing, the stability ratings are max. It has next to no recoil, which is something really cool, which is makes it different from other assault rifles. But there's some assault rifles, like I would say the AUG. I love the AUG, but the AUG is one of those generalized assault rifles that you can compare to, let's say, the AK-12, who just has a slower fire rate, so it's a little bit more consistent. And the ones that seem to vary a lot are they've done well with the DLC weapons or the sniper rifles. I mean, they all have different feels to them, but things like the L96 and the, what's the starting one? CS whatever are basically the same thing, except one's made by China and one's made by UK. Or this CS5 is CS6. Man, I can't get my gun names right. I haven't played Battlefield 4 in a while. I'm stuck on Battlefield 3. That's the same too. It's just developed by the Americans. So, although that does have a little bit of funky things to it with the suppressor, but or like Battlefield wants to be realistic, but to make guns have different bullet drop, which is completely unrealistic. How come one gun drops almost nothing until like 300 meters, you know, the MSR61, while guns like the SV98 or the Scout Elite drop at like 100 meters, which is drop like an average 200 meter sniper rifle like the L96. It would drop that in 100, that makes no sense. It depends on the bullet velocity. If you want to make variation in your guns, be more creative in picking your guns. Like really, that's a lot of them were copied over from either Battlefield 3, or they're all like the old weapons that you've seen in every single modern shooter game ever known to man. So it just, I don't know, it just seems weird why they are always I got so off topic here. I'm sorry. It's so rambly, but I really hope Hardline has some kind of beautiful aspect. There I was like this gameplay specifically because my F2000 got the mastery, and it's like my 6th gun mastered. And actually, I have suppressors for every single weapon in the game, believe it or not. That was my goal, just get every gun suppressor, and I'll work my way to masters. So I'm doing that. Got a little too off topic today. Next week, there's actually going to be something pretty special. So I won't hint you to that. That's secret. So I'll see you next time. Catch the next video for sure, please. It'll be the best video so far. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.